Hello, my name is Trydar, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build this Subnautica-themed nether portal in Minecraft. Let's get started. So the first thing I will do is give you a good view of the complete portal. Now, I have actually tried to record this tutorial about 4 or 5 times previous to this, and I have given up in frustration because it's a very big and complex structure, and trying to describe this to you in a reasonable amount of time has proven rather difficult. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how to build this from the front stairs, and each section I will show you will be 2 blocks farther back than the previous one. So we'll start with here, and then we'll go to here, and then 2 blocks further back each time I go. This appears to be the most efficient way for me to describe this to you, because what I'm going to do is give you a good look at this as I go around, so you can pause the video and you pretty much need to look at what I've done and replicate it. So, one thing about this portal is that it does have a center line going through the middle here, meaning that this side is identical to what is on this side, but it's mirrored. So this is going to help you build things, because when you place a block on one side, you just need to go to the other side and place the same block. Now, the block palette I have used for this is obsidian here, as you can see, prismarine, regular prismarine, lime glass, a couple of sea lanterns, and 1 beacon here to represent the ion crystal. The beacon, of course, is optional if you don't want to waste a beacon on this for purely decorative purposes. And the interior portal of this, by the way, is the maximum size of portal, which is 21 blocks by 21 blocks. And the portal frame itself is going to be 23 by 23. So when we get to that phase, you can go ahead and build your portal, and it will help you create the frame around it. Now, before we get started, let me give you the bill of materials for this. Now, I made this portal solid, and I spared no expense in building it. So this is a worst case scenario. I expect you will be able to use far less materials than these, but people are going to ask, so here's the numbers. I used 4,102 blocks of obsidian, 9,159 blocks of dark prismarine, 707 blocks of prismarine, 768 lime stained glass blocks, 98 sea lanterns, and 1 beacon. But as I've said, if you want to fill this portal with cobble or just leave it hollow, you will be able to use far less of this than what is actually presented here. And also, if you only want to collect enough obsidian for the portal itself, you could replace the black block with either black concrete or coal or whichever other block you prefer to use. You could, for instance, if you wanted to, replace it entirely with nether brick and red nether brick. It might look pretty good with a glowstone palette instead of the sea lanterns here, and probably red glass instead of the lime stained glass here would look pretty good. But I will leave it up to you to reimagine the color scheme for whichever portal you want to have. But this portal here is green, of course, because that is what it was in Subnautica. So with all of that explanation out of the way, let's get started with the first phase. So the first thing you will need to do is very simple. You just need to start out. I would recommend placing down a center line, by the way, to help you keep things straight, because from the center line here to here is going to be 11 blocks. So let's just count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And your first stair is 2 blocks deep here. As I've said, the tutorial is laid out in 2 block step backs. Each time we go, it's going to be 2 blocks farther back in depth. And you can also start adding in, after 2 blocks here, your dark prismarine. So with that laid out, you want to come over here, and you're going to be going 2 blocks back and 2 blocks up here for the second flight of stairs. You're going to put in a little bit more of dark prismarine here. And you're going to start putting in your details of lime stained glass here. And beneath these, I have put in prismarine. But underneath the glass, you can feel free to substitute out whichever material you prefer to use. If you want to have, say, lime concrete for this, or if you would rather use slime blocks instead of lime glass, or put the slime underneath the lime glass, you can do that. Or just substitute it out with whichever material you prefer to use. So, with that section laid out, we now step back 2 additional blocks. You want to increase your stairs here. This is now at a height of 3 blocks here. And there's some additional detailing here of the lime stained glass with the prismarine under it. Very easy pattern for you to replicate. And also, we want to start going off to the sides here, adding up a 3 block tall layer of obsidian. And from here to here is, I think, another 11 blocks, but let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nope, it's actually 12. Well, it's 11 from here is what I meant to mark out. So with that done under here, I imagine that there's some leftover sea lanterns down here, but I imagine when you're building this in survival, you will want to be more economical with your materials, so you don't have to make it solid like I've done here. You can leave it hollow, which means that the materials list will be a worst case scenario, meaning that you will never need more than what I've listed, but you will very likely need much less. So here, we're now stepping back another 2 blocks. Our stairs here are now reaching their final height. They should be 4 blocks up at the back here. Let me give you a good view of this. It's a very simple pattern to replicate. As you can see, the pattern of the dark prismarine goes up the stairs at the same way. And there's only the detail of the glass here that's different. And at the side here, we need to start adding in these little cube holders. They're on the original design for the portal. So I'll just show you how to build one of these right here. It's just some obsidian, like this, 3 blocks up. And I think there's just some lime stained glass all along the bottom here. A sea lantern. Some more lime glass like this. Piece of lime glass over here. And a little band of dark prismarine right there. We can only see part of it right here, but this is going to be the full cube. We'll see this in the next phase over here. And you're also going to want to, at this time, start edging back the sides of the portal frame here. So from the 11 block measurement we had from here to here, you want to just go back in a 45-degree angle like that. Still going to be 3 blocks tall, but you also want to start adding in some different material here. You want to go 2 blocks back here, as well as here, but you want to start adding in some dark prismarine here, and just make a band that goes across the frame like this, and repeat this on both sides. So with that phase done, now if I'm moving too quickly on this, just feel free to pause the video and look at what I'm doing here and repeat the pattern. As you can see here, the stairs are now at the full height here, and the prismarine and obsidian are continuing back that way. And we now have the start of the base of the ion cube holder, the central one here. It's just 3 blocks of obsidian with 3 blocks tall of lime glass here. And here's the detail on the stairs here. And over here you can now see the fully completed cube here. You're going to be building 4 of these total, but the first 2 are visible at the moment. I believe there is a 3-block space between them, so we will be seeing that in the next phases. Now, over here, there's a little inset detail that's been added. It's 3 blocks from the exterior here. I believe it's also, it's 4 blocks in from the side here. And it's just a simple diagonal pattern like this, following the design of the edges over here. And you want to make a simple thing of obsidian and glass with something below it, prismarine or sea lanterns, glowstone, whatever, that looks like this. And you want to be mirroring this on both sides here, so that when this phase is complete, it should look like this. So we will now be moving on to the next phase over here. We have, let's start over here at the sides. We have our sides are continuing to go back like this. They're 3 blocks tall at this current phase. We have our inset detail over here a little bit more. This is a square detail, by the way. I believe it is a 7-block square detail. And you want to build it according to this pattern. And you want to extend back the platform over here a little bit like this, with the sides like this. And you want to build the central ion cube according to this here. You have the obsidian pillars on either side, your stained glass, and the sea lanterns in the middle with the beacon here. It's a very simple design. It's like the design we did for these, except it's a little bit more modified. And underneath it, you want to build the stained glass and obsidian like this. So with that phase complete, we have quite a few more phases to go. We're about to get to the portal in 2 more phases. So here we have our stair platform continuing back like this according to this pattern. And we have the rest of the cubes over here being built. You see the 3rd and 4th cube being built now. They are 3 blocks spaced out from each other. And you now also see the full design for the inset detail like this. It's just a very simple pattern. So look at that and replicate it. And we're continuing the sides back here as before. And I'll give you a good look at this from the top here. So your platform should now resemble this. Okay, with that phase completed, we now go to the next phase here, which is just continuing to build the platform back. We're about to get to the portal frame over here. So at this point, we need to make a little change here. You will have your cubes built and constructed, but immediately behind your cubes and at the same height of the stair platform, which I believe is now 4 blocks, you want to start building a little band of obsidian like this. That is also 4 blocks tall, but at the sides, you want to extend this out an additional 3 blocks. And build it according to this pattern here. And once that is done, we can now move on to looking at the portal frame itself. This is where things get very complicated, and the reason I'm doing it with this particular format, because as I've said, I did try to record this using several different methods with a bottom-up strategy and building it block by block and trying to do it in a time lapse. But I think after a lot of thinking about it, that this way is going to be the easiest for you to replicate solely from the video. So first, let's talk about the extension of the platform down here. We left off with this section here, but now we want to continue our diagonal back here, and you want to have a little inset detail of the dark obsidian here. And you want to do that on both sides. There's also a little more detail of dark prismarine here. I think, did I say dark obsidian? That's not even a thing, is it? I guess all obsidian is dark by nature. But this looks the same on both sides, as you know. And it's at this level. You want to have a band of obsidian that's 2 blocks thick here, but on the 3rd block, you want to start adding in some dark prismarine here. And here is the detail for the stair platform that leads into the portal with the glass and everything. So now, as you remember, I told you that this is identical to this, so I'm going to give you a good look at one side here. And to make everything simple, this is all 1 block thick here. So just look at the patterns that I've replicated here and rebuild them. You want to start out, let's see, how many blocks is this from the side here? I think it's 5 blocks. And then you want to start up with a stair step of obsidian blocks. And you can pretty much go ahead and do that all the way up to give you the portal frame. You'll just have to knock out a few here for these side details. And you can build this little simple pattern here. And if you want to, you can build the base of the obsidian solid, or you can rough it out with cobblestone and then put in the obsidian and then do the lime glass details later. I believe these are also all 5 blocks thick. Yes, that's 5 blocks thick all the way up. And I've just chosen random patterns for the glass here. The only way for me to describe this to you is just to show you the picture. And if you need to, just pause the video and replicate the pattern you see here. Moving on up. And moving over this way, we have the central pinnacle here. I believe there's 3 blocks of glass here, then 3 blocks, and then further down it's 4 blocks. And the same holds true for the details on the side here. This is also 4 blocks. There's a little gap here in between the platform pattern, and there's also a 3 block of regular dark prismarine over here for the side details. And you want to replicate the same pattern on both sides. So let me pause here. It's a very complicated first step here. So if you have built everything according to this pattern, we can now move on to the next phase. And let's start down here at the bottom on the platform. We have it extending 2 blocks further back, and we have some more detail being added with the obsidian and dark prismarine. A little more detail on these sides here. And from the portal frame, what you want to do is you want to go 2 blocks farther back here and start building out a 2 block thick thing of dark prismarine. And this is an edge that continues all the way up the portal. And behind that, you want to inset a 1 block detail ridge of obsidian like this that goes all the way from the sides up to the top. I believe this is 4 blocks from the edge here for you to measure, and it's also 4 from here to here. And for the detail, you also want to start putting in prismarine, or whichever detail block you want to use behind the stained glass. As a general rule for this build, whenever you have a piece of lime stained glass, you want to have some prismarine either under it or behind it like this. And also, as a side detail that breaks that rule, there is a little setback detail of lime stained glass here, which is regular obsidian behind that, because on the model I built this off of, this was not a glowing segment, so it doesn't have any of that behind it. And we have some obsidian here, connecting the side projections here. And there's also a little detail of sea lanterns right here. So let me pause on this lower segment here, give you a good look at this. Give you a good look at the side here. When you're building this out, you want to leave a little gap in between here. It looks like I left a construction gap here. Fix that. If you want to, you can also put some sea lanterns in there. That's a good idea. I think I'll fix that on the model when I'm releasing the download. So let me give you a good look at this here. And all the way up the top here, it's a very simple repeating pattern. And when you get up to the top here, it's just a little more detail of sea lanterns and prismarine. Now, on the inside of the portal, it's a little bit more complicated. It follows the same pattern we did over there, except it's all dark prismarine, and you just want to have it go back in a 45-degree angle like that. You just want to have it inset a little as it goes deeper. And then when you get up here to these side projections, you want to have them come out a little according to this pattern here. And when you're going up on the top here, you basically mirror that all the way up and do the same thing again. So let's go around back here and give you a view of that. As you can see, I built this to be all solid. But to save materials, you can, of course, make it hollow. Or just fill it with cobblestone. Which is probably what I would do if I was building this in survival. So if you've seen all and done all of this, you have this replicated on both sides. We're now ready to move on to the next phase, which is a fairly simple phase. So let's start down here at the sides again. We have our side projections coming out like this, with little details of prismarine, like so. And to get the measurements from here back to here, I think is now what? 6 blocks is what that's going to be, because we have a flat band of obsidian that you just put in behind the one that we saw over here, and you want to continue this all the way up the portal frame as shown here. And let's start down here and look at these side projections. Here's a view of them from the top and from the side. You should have the sides already complete. And a view of the middle here. It's just a 3-block thick sort of vent hole. I'm not sure what it's venting out, but that was on the original model, so I included it in this design here. And this should be a fairly simple phase to do on the outside, as I've said. And you just want to have a little band of lime stained glass and prismarine going over the top like that. And I think we are actually at the full height of the portal at this phase. So from here on out, everything should be very much downhill, actually, because it's at the, I think it's at the next phase. We're going to be adding the portal itself. So behind the prismarine details that you put in before, let me go back over here and quickly illustrate this. All you'll be doing is putting in a 2-block thick band of obsidian like that. And that's essentially what you're doing on both the inside and outside of the portal. You also want to continue these details back on the side like so. And with that done, we can now move over to what is going to be the midpoint of the portal here. Because from this point on back, the portal frame that's on this side here, you are going to mirror that exact design on this side over here. Which means that now that you've gained some experience in building the front frame of the portal here, you simply want to copy the design for the other side of the portal over here. And there is a little bit of a middle detail here that I've added. It's a band. It's inset in the obsidian here that's 3 blocks thick. It's going to be 3 blocks thick on either side. But in the middle of that, you want to have going up a 1 block wide sort of glass detail layer here. And this is designed to have a, I can just build a little bit of it here. You have a 2 block thing of sea lanterns and then a space, then 2 blocks, then 2 more blocks, and over that you just want to layer lime stained glass all the way down. And you can put whichever detail block you want underneath it. I think I just went with obsidian, but it really doesn't matter. It's just a side detail here you can add in. As you can see, you continue that pattern from the bottom all the way up to the top here. And at the top here, we have a little 3 block long layer of this. And this represents the midpoint of the portal frame itself here. And it's also at this point, you're going to need to leave the indentation for the portal itself, because as you can see, there is a band of obsidian that goes across the glass walkway. And this is because it's going to be hard to see. So let me mark this out with some red wool. In here, you're going to be building the indentation for your portal frame, and this is going to continue up like this on both sides there and all the way around. Just to make this extra clear, I think I should go ahead and illustrate the entire thing like that. So as you can see here, we have our portal frame that's going to be inside. Now the red wool represents where the portal frame is, because the frame you should already have built of obsidian inside this. And this is what gives the illusion for the portal that it is diamond shaped, when it is really just a square, regular vanilla portal hidden inside this large frame. So you can build this and amaze all your friends with your non-standard nether portal. And then they will take a closer look at it and not be that impressed, but it will still have them wondering for quite a little bit while they figure it out. With that said, let me give you a look at the base around here. We're going 2 blocks farther back because, as I've said, this is now the midpoint of the portal, because your portal will be mirrored the exact same at the front as at the back here, but the frame around back it's slightly different. This prismarine detail here mirrors this detail here. And I think that's the only changes you need to know. We'll give you a good look at the walkway here. It's also mirrored, as you can see. And we'll hop to the next phase here. You can see that this starts to be mirrored there as well as there. And you can see the back frame of the portal is now coming into view. This should be the entire portal built at this phase here, by the way. You should have your entire frame mirrored on the front as well as the back. So at this phase, your entire portal will be complete. And you can light it if you want to. And the next things I think I need to explain is actually the final phase. When you have your entire portal built, there's just 2 blocks more to go. There's just a little band of almost entirely obsidian, I think, actually, that goes along the back here. There's just a little bit more detail, like this here. And it's complete obsidian all the way across there, like that, to form the entire back of the portal itself there. Now, for this design, if you want to add a little extra, you can, from this point here, continue on and rebuild this entire front section here that you're seeing. And you could mirror it on the other side of the portal here as well if you want to have a double entrance to your portal frame from both sides. So with that done, this now should give you the completed portal if you've been able to follow the directions. I've tried to explain this in as clear and thorough a manner as I can, without having the video be several hours long. So remember, if you need to see additional details of how this portal is constructed, there is going to be a download of this portal in the description below. So you can load it up in your own worlds, and from there, you can take a look at it if anything I've tried to explain here is unclear. So this concludes the Subnautica portal tutorial. It's a very large and complicated build, and I did my best to explain this to you in a reasonably timely manner. Remember, the download for this will be listed in the description below. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.